Well, hello, everyone. It's your girl, Gabrielle. Welcome to a brand new episode of Hot Topics. Let me tell you what this show is about. So, this is the show where we like to have real talk about real things, you guys. We like to talk about things in empowerment, education. We like to talk about employment. We like to talk about resiliency, which is actually what we're going to talk about today. So, as this show is a part of my company, A Step Ahead Tutoring Services, I, Gabrielle, like to educate you. So, this is like a weird twist on educational programming in a way. We've covered a lot about disabilities, special needs. We just did an episode about audiobooks for the deaf and the blind. So there's a lot of ground that we covered here in the name of education. And today is no different. And my one of my philosophies is that someone's life story can be an educational tool. And that's what's going to happen today. So let's get right into it. I'm totally looking forward to this. I know I say that in every episode, but I am particularly looking forward to this one. Um so let me tell you the topic of the episode today. So today's topic is Resiliency Part 6. So this is the sixth installment of this topic, resiliency. I love bringing back topics. I love having multiple people talk about the same topic because everyone has their own perspective on it, right? So we have to look at multiple ways of seeing the same thing. So resiliency part 6, I'm bringing it back for the sixth time. Let me tell you who the guest is today. So the guest today, her name is Andi Poland. And briefly, I'm just going to tell you who she is. So she is an actress and she is a mom of three kids, and she has had severe traumatic experiences, which is what we're going to get into today. When I heard her story, I was just blown away. So I'm going to have her share it, and you know, um let's see where this goes. All right, so without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and bring Andi to the stage. Hi, Andi. How you doing today?
Good, how are you?
Good, good, good. So you have an amazing story about resiliency, about family, and what you had to go through. So I would like you to share it with our audience. And I see we have some people backstage with us, but that's okay. But if anyone backstage, if you guys have any questions, type it in the chat. All right, so Andi, go ahead. I'm gonna have you tell your story right now.
Okay, where to begin? Like you said, I had three kids. My daughter is a lawyer. She's doing great and has two daughters of her own. And my son Kenny had a son and my son Todd um, had graduated college, we thought. So here it is, spring of 2014. And my son Todd was about to graduate. He asked me if we could please not attend his graduation. And I didn't want to make him, that's his right. I said, sure, we're proud of you no matter what. A few weeks after his graduation, he called me every single day to say, I love you, every single day. And he wasn't calling, and I was on a set. And every time I had a break, I was calling, and it went right to voicemail, and I was getting nervous. I finally got through to him, and I said, Todd, what's going on? He goes, I'm sorry, Mom, I'm at work, and they don't let me use the company phone. I said, well, somehow get a hold of me because you're getting me worried. He had told us after graduation that he'd gotten this amazing, amazing job. So we talked that night. He wanted to come over. He owed us a little money. So we talked that night. He was supposedly on his way over. He never got to my house. And again, the phone started going right to voicemail. So I went to sleep a little uneasy. Tried again when I woke up in the morning, still going to voicemail. So I called his best friend. And I said, do you know the name of the company that Todd works for? And he said, yeah. And I called and I said, There's no Todd here. I said, what are you talking about? He's Todd Poland. He's been there, about 6 weeks. He has a car. I said, no, I'm sorry. We don't have a Todd here. So I'm very confused. And his best friend tried to call. And I said, sir, this is the second call. We've never had a Todd here. I didn't know what was going on. So I was out at the time in my car, and I got back home to two detectives telling me that my son had completed suicide. Not expected, not obviously. Didn't see any signs of it. I know more about him today than I did then through friends and what he went through. But he always seemed happy. Everybody loved him. He was a lot of fun. He was a really good person. And so come to find out, my daughter and my daughter-in-law went to the place where he apparently met his boss. I thought he made the whole thing up, and he found the boss. And they said, do you know Todd Poland? I said, yeah. He was supposed to come work for me. And they said, well, he passed away. I said, are you kidding? I said, we offered him a job. Everything he told you was true. Company, car, travel, everything. But when it was time to start the job, he said, give it to someone else. I'm not worth it, which was crushing to hear this. So time went on. We were worried about my son, Kenny. I'm in Connecticut. He lived in Myrtle Beach with his wife and his little boy. And he had a drug history. So we were really, really worried that he was going to go back on drugs. He was so close to Todd. They were inseparable. They were 7 years apart in age, but you would think they were twins. They were like best friends. And I could tell by Kenny's voice several months later, like maybe a year later, he was on drugs again. So we had him put in a place in Atlanta, Georgia for a month to clean up. Did really well. Time went on. I could tell he was high again after maybe another 6 months. So we're like, Kenny, just admit it so you can get help. Please admit it. You got a little boy, you got a wife. Next thing I know, I'm at Target with one of my granddaughters, and my cell phone's ringing, and it's my daughter-in-law, and she really never calls me during the week like that. So I picked up. I said, Allison, what's up? She goes, Kenny's gone. I said, gone where? She said, he died. I said, what? And I started screaming at her, saying, why are you saying something like that? So Kenny did the same thing. He committed suicide. Of course, we flew down there. He had a 16-month-old boy who is now 8.5, who I adore. And that's it. I mean, I got therapy, of course, and I joined these amazing, amazing support groups, Facebook support groups online of other moms. My favorite being Mothers Against Suicide. I have really good friends there. And when Todd left, he left an 8-page letter to the family, but he left me a private little note that said, Mom, please continue your acting. You're destined for greatness. So I decided to make just one little episode of something for him and called a bunch of my acting friends, and we did. During post-production, April 2016, Kenny left. So we decided, let's make one more episode so we can dedicate it to Kenny. And it just got to be a thing. A director out of the blue came on board and said she wanted to bring it to another level, the web series. And it turns out, very shockingly, that she knew my son Todd. So it's like it was meant to be. He ended up being her teacher. She didn't connect the dots when she called me. She didn't know that my son was Todd Poland. But it ended up that she used to teach him, and they were very, very close, according to her, which is crazy. So I think she was really meant to be here. It's now, the web series is now turned to where someone is investing in it. And instead of being a comedy, it's going to be a dramedy. So all the episodes are going to touch on some kind of depression, loneliness, kid that feels like he has no way out. And we've even started, even with the comedies, we start putting a suicide hotline at the end of each show. But now it's going to be a little more serious. We're very goofy in the episodes and trying to have fun. But my goal is to get teaching in my local schools about suicide prevention. These teachers, the people, the schools don't have enough funds for things like that. And guidance counselors are overwhelmed with the kids that get Fs or whatever they do, but they don't have time for a whole nother curriculum So that is my main goal. And once this investment comes in the next few months, and instead of 15-minute episodes, we're going to 30-minute episodes. And it's we're now a nonprofit. It's Gossiping Grams LLC. And, and so we're going to make 30-minute episodes that, again, will have some lightness to it. But there will be a theme in there dealing with some kind of depression or loss or something. I'm not the writer, so I'm not exactly sure, but my writer's great. So that's my story. This is
Well,
my son's ashes.
thank you.
This is Todd. This is Kenny. They're in every episode with me. I don't take them out all the time like I used to, but they absolutely are in every episode. And when I just feel like having them near my heart.
Oh, yeah, it's like two heart pendants, right?
Right.
I'm looking. It's a necklace with two heart pendants.
Right.
Okay. That's cute. That's cute.
Thank
Well,
you.
thank you so much for sharing that. And what you did was tragic. And what you went through was tragic. Excuse me. Um, it's not just one suicide in your family, right? It's two, and you took that and you took that for lack of a better word, I mean tragedy, and you turned it into something that'll help other people. So
I hope so.
you had
I
that
hope
all
so.
that energy and you turned it into something that will benefit other people. How
If I can
who
save one family from going through what we go through, because it's never ending. It's not like it's over. We're through it. That's not going to happen. It's dealing with it. Um, but if I can prevent, I did an interview for a group called Ellie's Way. And it's another support group. The man, Todd, actually, that started it had lost his daughter in an accident and just started a grief group on any loss, not just suicide, accidents, whatever. And he wanted to interview me. And I actually was getting mail from out of different countries. One lady saying that she lost her son and she hadn't got out of bed for 6 months until she watched me. And I'm trying to have some kind of life, having lost two. And she said, if that lady can do it, losing two. So, I'm glad to hear that part. Absolutely. That's why I'm here. If anybody can be benefited from this, that's terrific. The one other thing I forgot to mention about Todd was that high school graduation was also a farce. My daughter went up to the school to get his diploma. He'd only gone one semester, not the whole 4 years. And I said, how is that possible? He was handing me grant checks every month. He was going to the bank with the tuition, turning it into a money order, giving it back to me and saying, I got a grant. Oh, I mean, he had this whole craziness mapped out.
So let's talk more about that. So the Todd was your
My youngest son,
middle son?
23.
He was the
Youngest
youngest
child
son.
and son. Yeah, 23 he was.
So Todd was the youngest son. And what was that like hearing that he had this whole secret life? Like you thought he
Well,
was going to high school, but he only went one semester, and he never attended graduation. He told you about a job that he never
that,
worked at. So he had this whole secret life. So
I know
tell
it.
us, what was that like
In
hearing that?
his letter to us, he said he'd been planning this for 10 years, since he was 13. And I go back and look at all these pictures of him laughing and smiling, and some little videos of him goofing around with his brother, or him holding his nieces, my daughter's daughters. He never got to meet my grandson, but my daughter's daughter, and I'm just at a loss. And fortunately, I didn't hear all this at once. Pieces here and there between his friends that have kept in touch with me, and you know, and just a little research by my family. But yeah, these things come up that like he had a whole different Facebook page under a different name that I found. Somebody told me about that. Just these pieces that come up that are like, wow. I mean, I didn't know him. I mean, I did, but I didn't, he was always a very private person. And I always tried to respect that. Had I known what the privacy was about, I would have been a little more intrusive. But I was just a good kid, just liked to keep things to himself, but not that.
Did you ever find out what was the reason behind his depression?
In his letter, he said that he could never like himself. He apologized for wasting 23 and a half years of our lives. Um, he said, I love you. I love dad. I love, he listed everybody. But he said, I could never love myself. And I remember saying at his wake to my other son, I wish there was 1,500 people came. And he's always told me he had no friends. And I'd ask one by one going through the line, how do you know Todd? Oh, he's a friend from college. He's a friend from high school. He's a friend at work. But he had no friends. He's just totally, I don't know. But I said to my son, I wish Todd could see all these people that came out for him. And my son said back to me, Mom, you could have 10,000 people in the room and still feel lonely. And it's true. He was right. But hopefully Todd did see all the love that was in that room for him.
So this was a complete shock to you, right? You're thinking, I mean, yeah, he's had a private life, but you're thinking, well, let me ask you this. Did you ever think he was a happy child?
Yeah, absolutely. He was just a thoughtful kid. He didn't live at home since he graduated high school. He lived in a dorm for one semester. I guess that should have been, and then moved out into an apartment. Little did I know it's because he wasn't going. Kids do that. So I didn't think, oh, I hope he's going to school. Why would I think that? And he'd stop by with like my favorite thing with a chocolate frosty from Wendy's. And I haven't been able to have one in 9 years since he left, almost 9 years. He just was, I heard stories about which he never shared these really good things he did. Had a good friend, Dan Henry, and they were very, very poor, which I didn't know. I didn't know the family well. And he actually was like buying clothes for them and paid for their hotel room and stuff. I didn't know anything about this until later. It's like, so it's not like just the bad he didn't share. He didn't share anything that, just very surface.
So it's like he was a complete stranger to you. Like you thought you knew
Unfortunately,
him and then
unfortunately, yeah. I mean, the parts of him I knew I adored, but I guess I didn't know much. I mean, it hurts. It hurts a lot. A lot of guilt goes with that. Like, why didn't I do this, or why didn't I see that, or what? Which I'm slowly getting over, and just realizing that I didn't see it because he made every effort in the world for me not to see it. I mean, not even his best friend, who was in hysterics when I had to make that call. I found, he's looking for him at work with me and everything, calling, who just completely lost it. So he didn't know either. He kept it 100% to himself, everything he was going through.
so tell us more about the guilt. So you said you felt guilty about what happened.
Well, as a mom, you feel like you know your kids. And I never knew about his pain at all. Um, I did find a psychiatrist card in his room when we were cleaning out his room. So I called the guy who couldn't talk to me. So I went to mine, and she called, and he said, I really don't have much to say. He said he came in one session. He said, I didn't see any suicidal tendencies. He said he talked about feeling bad because he wasn't in school and his parents thought he was. Um, and he said, he said there really is much to say. He said, I looked through my notes, and he just talked about that he felt bad, and he didn't, nothing. And he never came back. He said, of course, if I'd known anything like that was going on, I would have helped him, through that. But he didn't display pains, depression, nothing. So
It's
I guess he should have been an actor, huh?
so let's say you knew what was going on. You knew the source of his pain. What do you think you would have done for him?
Oh, I definitely would have gotten him help. And he wrote that actually in his 8-page letter. He goes, I know I could have gotten help anytime. I know my mom and dad would, but I could still never love myself. So he knew we were there to help if he needed it, but he didn't want it. He didn't want help. He wanted to leave.
Mm.
And
So it's you couldn't be the mom. You couldn't be the mom that you wanted to be for him.
So, right, exactly. I mean, I've made such good friends through him that I never knew before. I mean, because he was a huge Dave Matthews follower. He went to his concerts, and so some of the people that he went to concerts with or met there have reached out to me, and they're like, some of them are my age, or halfway between me and him. So nicest people that I never even heard about, because he didn't tell me this stuff. He'd just say, oh, I'm hanging out with people, or and I like I said, I'd heard him yell at his brother once for, that's my personal life. So I tried to let him live his life, but it didn't work out. I did not know what was
Right.
going on.
So
So
you
yeah,
were in the, I mean, you definitely were in the dark for a lot of this stuff, and I think it's,
almost everything.
you know, it's pretty. I think it's pretty common, um for parents to be in the dark about their children's lives, and children can be going through depression, especially adult children, and there's a shame, and there's a guilt that they feel, and they feel like they don't want to bring other people down.
Hmm. He actually
So
was working at a grocery store, and I found out that he went in that day to say goodbye to everyone, that he wouldn't see him for a while. I mean, just saying his goodbyes, left me a message, I love you. I mean, he knew he was leaving that night. And of course, he absolutely didn't know. He never would have done this. It's my daughter's wedding anniversary, the day. So that's kind of, I know he would have done it a different day. He would never do that, but he didn't know that.
yeah, so it's like he was planning his suicide, and
Oh, yeah. Oh,
you know.
step by step. Yeah, he had it all worked out.
So now let's talk about your this is your middle son, Kenny,
Kenny.
right? All right. So tell us, how did tell so that one was a result of, his brother committing suicide. So tell us more about that. So I
Well,
mean, your daughter-in-law called you and told you what he did.
yeah, so we flew down there, and Kenny was an open book. We were on the phone all the time, to the point of my daughter-in-law thinking, you're talking to your mother again? I mean, we were just super, super close. He'd call me on the way to work. He'd call me from back to work. I know all his friends' names. I know, everything, but it was the drugs. Um, and like I said, he was clean. He was actually leading meetings before this happened. And like I said, we were all worried about him because he was so close to Todd, and he is an addict. And he went back on the drugs, like I said. And then one morning, that morning that I found out from my daughter-in-law, he texts me, I love you so much, Mom. And he always calls me. But he texts me, and I thought to myself, all right, he got to work and he's busy. And then I got the call a couple hours later, right in his work parking lot. So I another one, I would have no idea, because he left a 16-month-old son that he adored. I never, in my wildest dreams, he would leave his son. Um, his son asked me, we're super, super close, even though he's Myrtle Beach. His mom is nice enough to let me fly him here for a few weeks in the summer. He was just here for spring break. I go there as much as I can. And he said, he asks 100 questions. He follows the same teams his dad does. He has his dad on a pedestal, pictures of them all over him, holding him all over the walls. And he says, why did dad have to leave? And I said, I know, honey. I said, he was sick. And I'm not lying, just not the type of sick that he's thinking of. But I'm not about to tell him that. If his mom thinks it's something she has to eventually share, that's fine. But it's not going to be for me.
And that, I mean, I feel like that one hits harder in a way, because now there's a child, right? And now you have to explain to your child, to your grandson, you know, why is daddy not here anymore? And that can be a tough conversation.
Oh, yeah. That's why I said it's not, I just plain say, he was sick. He never asked me with what was wrong with him. He just knows he was sick and passed away. And that's not a lie. you have to be sick to do what she did, you know? And again, I think my daughter-in-law's counselor said something around the age of 12 or 13 that, and that if she ends up telling him to do it in a psychiatrist's office so that he can, fully be aware that it has nothing to do with him, not his fault. It just stinks. I mean,
Right.
I love him so much. He's the greatest kid. His name's Corbin. But sometimes I'm with him and my heart is just killing me because it's like, this is so unfair. This kid doesn't have his dad. Why? But yeah, Kenny just left a note on his lap saying, I know this is going to really hurt you, Mom and Dad, but it's time for me to be with Todd. Something like that, just a short couple of sentences.
So, what happened to your sons? Has that affected how you interact with your grandson?
Well, I'm not raising them. It's different, I mean, I'm the fun grandma. Um, so excuse me, his son comes here and he'll see his room and he knows there's certain things that he's going to get when he's a little older. There's this glass collection of Yankees ornaments that comes every year, and he's only 8 and he's good, but he's got these friends that are wild next door, so I don't want to set the glass. So it's hard on my heart, but as far as I'm not raising those girls, my daughter's girls or Kenny's son. I'm just the fun gram that likes to do silly things, sleepovers. We go to amusement parks, the beach, whatever. I keep it pretty light. I think it's up to their parents to share details, not me. Not my place. But my whole family's been traumatized. Obviously, my daughter-in-law lost her husband. My daughter lost both her brothers. And certainly I'm sure that makes them keep more an eye if depression runs in our family, or but they're both good moms. They really are. So
So, so let's, if we can talk about your daughter, how is she handling all this?
pretty much the same way I am, just keeping busy, just keeping as busy as possible. I have a friend, I don't know if she's watching, that doesn't leave her house at all. And, she has visitors, but she doesn't want to leave unless it's to the cemetery to see her daughter or her mom's. She doesn't leave the house. And that works for her, I guess. But I would go nuts. When I'm alone and I'm doing nothing, I'm thinking too much. And so I get right on the, start emailing casting directors or get on the phone or watch some crazy movie or something. I just have to have my brain somewhere else. So I travel a lot to Myrtle Beach. I travel to New York. That helps me, just getting out of here, not being in the same house where they grew up. And it's a hard life, nobody expects it. I mean, I've met so
Yeah.
many nice moms and when they talk about their sons, it's mostly sons, but there's a few daughters. When they talk about their sons, it sounds like it could be one of mine. Just super nice, fun, sense of humor. Everybody liked it. And that's the ones that you don't expect.
Right, and it's a lot to deal with, it's that fear of, being by yourself and the thoughts that come into your head, and it's sort of, it's like you don't want to think about it.
Yeah, it's hard. And so I'm in the car and sometimes I'm just yelling at Kenny. Like, what were you thinking? You have a son, I just get very frustrated sometimes. So many different feelings, sad, mad, just out there, like not being able to think. It's a hard life, I know so many moms now. I'm grateful for their help. I'm ungrateful that they have to be there. You welcome someone to a club like that, a club that you never want to see anyone entering. But it's great we have each other, we really do. I mean, somebody's really having a really bad night, we're all there, helping and supporting, and we do the best we can. Everybody knows the dates of their other kids' birthdays and other kids' the date. Kenny's going to be on 7 years next Friday. And the anticipation of it is almost worse than the day, because it's like I just don't want that day to come again, you know?
And now it's so whenever their birthdays come up, it's like, oh, now you remember what happened and you remember that they're not here anymore.
Well, I remember every day, trust me. If I went a half hour without thinking one of them, it would be a miracle. Without thinking of one of them, even when you're having a good time, when you're with people you love and your people, it doesn't go away. I they're always on my mind, and any mom in my position will tell you the same thing. It doesn't. It's not going to get better. It's how I handle it, you know. But the pain doesn't go away. Even if we're laughing, having fun, jumping the waves. I think of jumping in the waves with Kenny. We used to go to the beach all the time. It's a never-ending battle, but I'm doing the best I can.
So let's talk about that, doing the best you can. How have you been handling it? How are you handling it?
Well, like I said, I keep busy. I went full force into my acting with the pandemic. I was doing background work before it, but now I'm really, getting some decent roles, auditioning, and I love it. I love it, and so that's another channel because I'm in classrooms on Zoom with actors that I've gotten to know, and I'm just I have a really good time with it, and I have mostly Todd in my heart a lot of times because he's the one that said continue your acting, and that's when I started to really go full force with it. Again, everybody's different. I don't blame anyone for anything they do. Any moms that lost a kid, unless it hurts them or it hurts someone else. But if they want to sit home all day, let them sit home all day. If they want to go out and never go home again, that's their business. Whatever way you can get through it. And some days I'm feeling real bad, but I don't want to talk to anybody. And some days I need to talk to somebody. It's very unpredictable how you're going to feel each day. There's just so many feelings. Like I said, one day it's guilt, the next day it's sad, next day it's mad, the next day, it's just a vicious, not good cycle.
It's like a roller coaster of emotions that
Yeah.
you're feeling.
Yeah. A lot of people a lot of the other moms refer to it as, that tidal wave coming every so often where you're just so overwhelmed by the whole thing, just need a day to do nothing and cry. And I haven't done that in a while. I've cried, but not all day anymore. Just out of frustration. Why, why us? Why this family? Why me? Why them? Why, just no answers we'll never get till we're with them. And when I see them again, I will kick both their butts for putting me through this. And then I will never stop hugging them.
Right. It's unfortunate that this happened, and it's something to know that it's out of your control.
Well, that's what I have to tell myself. I can't, going back to, I can't think of anything different I would have done in the circumstances I was in, not knowing what I know, now, absolutely. But I was just living our lives. Come on, we're going on vacation. You want to go to camp? It's Christmas tomorrow and everybody's all happy. We're just living our lives. There was nothing I thought I needed to do else. Everybody was good. That's the hardest part.
So you thought everybody was, yeah, you thought everybody
How
was
would I know
good and
otherwise?
happy, and then
Todd supposedly graduated college, supposedly had a great job. I was so proud of him doing exactly what he wanted to be doing. And Kenny was doing well. And like I said, he was teaching at the AA meetings or NA, I guess, NA meetings. He was doing great. He was a leader. And then when Todd left, my daughter and I have a disagreement about that. She thinks he would have left because of the drugs, and I disagree with her completely. Say he would be here if Todd was here. I'm sure of it.
tell us more about that.
He loved his brother. They were anytime I'd call, say, Todd, I'm on the phone with Kenny. I'm on the phone with Todd. They flew back and forth, just them, to see each other, not just family. They were super, super close. And yet Kenny didn't even know about the other Facebook identity. I mean, so there's things that popped up that he was like, "You did?" Because I could have assumed Kenny would know a lot more than me, and he knew some things, but not a lot. Like I said, Todd did a very good job of keeping his private life private.
Right. But then your daughter said that your Kenny committed suicide because of the drugs, and you said no, it's because of Todd.
Well, she thinks he would have done it anyway, even without Todd. Is what she was basically saying. Mom, he
Oh, okay.
getting stoned, and I said, but he wasn't. Before Todd, he was doing great. I went. He like, Mom, you got to come see me at the meetings, and I went with him, and he was doing really good. And he admitted to me when I hospitalized him. It was a year later because I remember calling the hospital. They wouldn't let me talk to him, but I called him on Todd's 1 year anniversary, and they said he knows what day it is. And I said I just wanted to see how he was. So it was almost exactly a year after Todd died that he was hospitalized for drugs, and he admitted to me that he stopped working on it, that program, the day Todd left. He said it's not that I started drugs right away, but I stopped doing what I had to do to stay off him because he just didn't care anymore, even with that little boy. That's probably one of the hardest parts.
And that does bring an important point. Like you're surrounded by all this family, and you would think with Kenny, you have a son, you'd want to live for him, but sometimes that's the thing with suicide is you feel so alone, and you feel ashamed, and you feel like everyone else will be better off without me, right? Because that's how
Oh,
we want to
absolutely.
feel. Yeah.
Absolutely. I know that's how Todd thought, according to his letter. I mean, at the end, he's writing, please, please forgive me. Don't be mad at me for this. That's hardly the reaction I had. God, I'm mad at you, Todd. I mean, his thinking was off. All I can say about Todd, he just really, nobody knew. Not his brother, not his best friend, not his parents, not his sister. Nobody knew. I had a lunch date with him coming up 2 days after he did it. My daughter had a lunch date coming up with him. And my husband was actually supposed to visit Kenny 2 days after he did it. And he was telling my husband, I can't wait for you to come. We're going to do this, this, and that. And 2 days before he arrived. Oh, the whole thing's a mystery.
And we didn't even get into Kenny's drug problem. Do you know the source of that?
No, I really don't. I know it started in college. And he got married very young to a college girl because he thought she was pregnant. They ended up getting divorced. She wasn't, or she lost the baby. That's right. She lost the baby. And the two of them were, all of a sudden I went to the bank one day. They lived here. And I went to the bank one day and my account was wiped out. And I'm like, what? And then I noticed my card I ran home. And Kenny said, I've been wanting to tell you this, Mom. I'm on drugs. And he's stolen, it didn't have thousands in it, but it had, enough in the account. And then he opened a drawer and there was all these needles and stuff in it. And that's the first time he told me about it. So it was a long, long habit from 18 to 32 is when he died. So, or I don't know if it's 18, maybe 20, somewhere in college he started it. And I don't know why. I don't know why he would do that. I don't know why anyone starts doing that.
And that can be that's also tough. Why anyone starts drugs to sometimes they do it to self medicate.
It's one thing
To feel better
one
about
thing to have
themselves.
shot a little bit here or there or something like that, but to actually put a needle in your arm, I don't know. I don't know.
It's a lot to grapple with.
Yeah.
So now I'm wondering, because of what happened to your two sons, because I asked how it affects your relationship with your grandson. So what about your daughter? Like, do you find yourself like talking to her more, or, you know, like
Um,
hovering over her? I don't know. Do you find yourself more overprotective? So has it shifted?
no, overprotective. No, I am 100% sure that will never happen with her. She's not. She's grounded. She's happy. She has husband, two daughters that are amazing and I adore. Nice house. Lives about 40 minutes from me. We were not getting along after Kenny died at all. We ended up going to therapy together. Um, I don't know if she blamed me. I mean, it was bad, just really bad. And I had my only child left, so we got help, and we're doing good. I see her quite a bit because I have the girls sleep over a lot, or I go to her house after school, grab them, take them to ice cream or something. I just try to see the girls at least once a week because I adore them. I don't know what I'd do without those grandkids. I really don't. I mean, there's so much in my life now, and I need them as much as they need me.
Well, I mean, you sound sure that you wouldn't, but then that's what you thought about your other two children.
No, this it's so different. She's just a different person than them. She has always been extremely grounded. She knew she wanted to be a lawyer in 8th grade, and she always stuck to that. She's just really, really smart girl. I'm not saying the boys weren't, but the studies were not. That she just, you could just tell. It's hard to explain, but she's very focused and very grounded and loves what she does. And I'm like, she never talks about to me, never. So I asked her husband, does she talk about the boys? And he said occasionally she'll break down or talk. I said, good. It doesn't have to be me she talks to, as long as she's getting it out. But I don't know if she thinks she's going to upset me. I mean, she does mention him on the birthday, or she called on Todd's birthday this year and said, hard day, huh, Mom? I said, awful. Used to be a great day. Now it stinks. But yeah, we get along fine. We get along fine. It's a different relationship than I had with the boys, but it's good. It's good. I just miss
So
the
it sounds
boys.
like your daughter's a little bit more. She's more goal oriented,
And very
or
independent. She's always been
yeah.
very independent. Where the boys were not, you know, they were not at all. Kenny calling me all the time, Todd stopping by, that wouldn't be something Kelly would do. She'd be, take that time and do something constructive, or, that would be Kelly. I'm like I said, I'm 100% not worried about her. She even said to me after Kenny, Mom, don't worry about me. I said, I'm not. I'm not. I really wasn't. But I was, like you said, I wasn't worried about the other two. But Todd was out of thin air. But Kenny did have that drug history, so we did have some kind of concern. But no, absolutely not with Kelly. She's here to stay. That's what she says. Mom, don't worry about me. I'm here to stay. I said, I know.
Yeah, so you're not worried about her at all. She's a little
No,
bit more focused, and
no, not at
she's
all.
more like she knows what she wants, and
And she
she has
adores her family. She would never, ever, I mean, and they adore her. And, she's got a good life. She really does.
she has something to hold on to, something to live for.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, she misses those girls when she has to go away for 2 days on business or something. She's like, how are they? I miss them. They're fine. They're getting big now. My granddaughter Maya is going to be 13. And my granddaughter Abby is going to be 10. I'm sorry, 10. And so they're not babies anymore. Maya stays home alone. It's not the same as it was like run there, because she has to go out or, um, but they're great. I have them, see them every minute I can.
Yeah, and it's now you definitely want to be involved in your family's lives as much as you can.
And I am, like I said, I fly to Myrtle Beach probably every 6 to 8 weeks, just maybe 3 or 4 days. It was great before he went to school. I could have him all the time. So, but now it's like, I'll get there on a Thursday and I don't see him till 3 o'clock. But we have a great time. We go out, ice cream, dinner, a trampoline park, whatever. He sleeps over. We bought a little place in Myrtle Beach because it's not my daughter. It's my daughter-in-law. I can't expect to stay there every time I go. So we did this years ago in 2016, the year my son passed. And it was so cheap then. Prices were not like they are now. So we were very lucky. We got a nice little 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom, and it's a hotel room that's on the beach. And so he loves it. It's got 3 pools. It's got so we have a blast. And like I said, he comes every summer. He goes to camp with my granddaughters. So they're very close, which is really nice, which is something we're trying to keep up. My daughter will take them for a few days. It's.
Mhm.
So we're trying to keep the what's left of the family together.
That's all you can do, right?
That's it. That's it.
Yeah. All right. Well, Andy, I'm going to start to wind things down. So I like to ask, thank you so much for sharing your story. I know this is a lot to talk about and to relive over and over again. So I like to ask my guests if they have any words of wisdom that they'd like to share with our audience. So, do you have any words of wisdom that you'd like to share?
Enjoy every minute with your loved ones that you can because you just never know. That's my words of wisdom. And that's what I live by. Any minute I can see my grandkids, my daughter, I do. You just don't know. Life is nothing like I expected. Let's put it that way. So that's what I
Yeah.
would say.
Well, Andy, thank you so much for that. And thank you for coming on Hot Topics and telling your story. I
Thank
appreciate
you
you
so much
coming.
for
And
having me.
yeah. All right. So let's jump to your promo. All right, you guys. So Andi Poland, you can find her on the web. She doesn't have a lot of accounts, so it's easy to follow her. You can go to her website. It is www.allaboutandypoland.com if you want to learn more about her and her. What do you do? So you act, right?
Yeah,
You're an actress.
I'm an actress.
Tell us
TV.
more about your business.
Well, it's TV and film. And, like while I was getting ready to go on with you, I got an audition in. So as soon as we hang up, I'm going to start working on that. um, that's basically what I spend my days writing casting directors. I have an agent. I have a manager. Check in with them every so often. I just had dinner with my manager the other night in New York. Um, and I just keep busy, like I said. And when those auditions come in, the callbacks, and it makes it all good. So, because I really enjoy it. I'm not giving it up anytime soon. It keeps me busy. It keeps me happy.
All right, keeps your mind on other things.
Right.
All right. So if all right, so she's so if you're looking for an actress, you're looking to, you're looking to put her in one of your sitcoms or movies or TV,
There I am.
reach out to her, you guys. Again, the website is www.allaboutandypoland.com. You can also follow her on Facebook. It is just her name, Andi.Poland. And she is on Instagram with she has two Instagram accounts. So one is Poland Andy and the number one, and the second one is Gossiping Grams. So I encourage you guys to follow her on all of her social media accounts. Make sure you follow her on both of her Instagram accounts. Make sure you follow her on Facebook and make sure you check out her website. Again, I'm going to give you that website one more time. It is www.allaboutandypoland.com. So that information is at the bottom of the screen right now for those of you watching this on
Just
video. And oh yes.
just one thing. If you want to ask me any questions on Instagram, make sure Poland Andy won. Someone stole my Poland Andy, so it won't go to me. So it's got to have that one at the end.
Gotta have that one.
Gotta have that one.
Make sure you have that number one. All right. It's very, very important.
I don't want anyone to think I didn't answer them.
Yeah, that's what's tricky about, social media is, anyone could take your name, right? So Poland Andy and the number one, Poland Andy one.
Yeah.
But yes, so if you want to learn more about her, ask her any questions. She isn't a working actress. So if you want to put her in any of your TV shows or commercials, reach out to her, contact her. All the information is at the bottom of your screen right now for my video people. And if you're listening to this on a podcast, all of this information will be in the description. So all however you are taking in this episode right now, the information is at your fingertips. So I encourage you to reach out to Andi Poland and to learn more about her and pick her brain and maybe hire her. She's an actress, you guys. It's hard out here for actresses nowadays. So
Can I hire you for a promotion, lady?
sure. It's hard out here for actors, you guys. So, you know, we gotta get you some acting gigs. So if you want to hire her for an acting gig, there you go. Reach out to Andi right there. All
Thank,
right, Andi, thank you so much again for coming on Hot Topics.
thank you. It was a pleasure.
Awesome. I'll put you backstage now. And you guys, that is it. We have reached the conclusion of yet another episode. So thank you so much for joining me. Before I put up my contact information, I just want to share this. Uh, I don't know if disclaimer is the right word, but as we did talk about suicide, I should mention that if you suspect anyone has any suicidal tendencies, get help right away. You know, call the police, call the suicide hotline. If you notice any changes in behavior, if you notice anything that seems off or um, not normal, or any harm, anyone in your close to you that is you suspect that they're going to harm themselves or other people, get help right away and seek help right away. And maybe that's you. Maybe you feel alone and you feel like it's better to end it all. I encourage you to seek help as soon as possible. So I want to share that little um, public service announcement right there. You don't have to feel alone. There's always someone or something that you could go to seek help. So if you feel like you need the help, seek the help right away. Or if you know someone in your family that needs the help, seek help for them right away. So I want to make sure to share that. All right. Now, as a reminder, I just want to let you guys know or remind you that Hot Topics is a production of my company, A Step Ahead Tutoring Services. So if you are looking for any kind of tutoring services for your child or even for yourself, because we also work with adults, but particularly for kids, if you know that they're falling behind in school, right? As we referenced school, right? So a it's a red flag when they don't really finish school. So if you have a child who's struggling academically, maybe they're falling behind in school, maybe their grades are dropping, maybe they're not doing the homework, skipping classes. If you are noticing these things and you want to get your child some academic assistance, reach out to us. Our website is www.astepaheadtutoringservices.com. You could also email us at success at a step ahead tutoringservices.com. You could also call or text us. I prefer that you text, but you can call or text us. The number is 347-762-2838. And you could also find us on our multiple social media platforms. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Eventbrite, YouTube. Uh, Sorry. Sorry about that. But yes, you can find us on our multiple social media platforms. We're on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook. Um, will this air somewhere? Yes, this will air everywhere, Andi. This will air everywhere. Andy just put a question in the chat for me. But yes, yes, you guys. So if you are looking for any kind of um sorry, my head is like all over the place. Okay, back to what I was saying. You can find us on our many social media platforms. I encourage you to seek us out on social media and follow us on social media as well. Stay in touch with us. So, like I said, if you are looking for any kind of academic services, test prep, homework help, college counseling, editing and proofreading, if you're looking for any of those services, whether it is for your child or whether it's for yourself, reach out to us. Again, our website is www.astepaheadtutoringservices.com. And one more thing I want to implore you, please let us know your thoughts about this episode. Leave a comment in the comment section below or in the comment thread. If you're watching this on video, if you're listening to this on a podcast, drop a rating. If you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts, please leave a comment in the comment section, or Good Pods. Leave a comment, leave a comment. We need the comments. It definitely helps our algorithm. It helps people find us. So let us know your feedback about this episode for today. So wherever you are taking in this episode, whether you are watching this on video or listening to this on audio, let us know your feedback about this episode, you guys. All right, and that is it. Thank you so much for joining me today. I look forward to you joining me at the next episode. Thank you again, you guys. And now I am signing off. Bye, you guys.